All right, thanks for staying with us tonight on Business Live. President Akufo-Addo says government has begun talks with real estate firms to provide accommodation for staff of the Continental Free Trade Secretariat. According to him, this is part of his commitment to ensure that requirements agreed with the African Union are provided before the start date. The president made the announcement when he addressed the 33rd ordinary session of the African Union Heads of State in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
As you know, on the 7th of July 2019, at the extraordinary meeting of the Assembly of the African Union in Niamey, capital of the Republic of Niger, Ghana was honored with the historic responsibility of hosting the Secretariat of the AfCFTA. We were directed to work with the AU Commission to ensure an expeditious and efficient process of establishing a permanent secretariat for the AfCFTA in Accra by the 31st of March this year. To this end, Ghana has undertaken the following activities, which I would like to state for the record. Firstly, the reconfiguration of the office premises based on the specific requirements agreed with the AU Commission, including the installation of critical data and IT infrastructure facilities, security systems, office furnishing, and corporate branding of the AfCFTA office complex. Secondly, the acquisition and furnishing of the residence of the Secretary-General of AfCFTA, based on the requirements agreed with the AU Commission. Thirdly, the initiation of negotiations with real estate companies for residential accommodation for other AfCFTA staff. Fourthly, the finalization of arrangements of health and educational facilities for AfCFTA management and staff. And finally, securing a dedicated booth at the Kotoka International Airport, Accra, to facilitate entry and exit requirements of AfCFTA officials, as well as representatives of member states who will be conducting official business with the Secretariat. In addition, the government of Ghana sponsored 6 different meetings of the AfCFTA in December 2019 in Accra. I wish to reiterate to the Assembly our determination to make sure that the Secretariat is up and running by March so that we can take off without a hitch in July. Mr. Chairman, I can't conclude without congratulating you on your assumption of office as leader of our organization, and I have no doubt at all that you're going to discharge your function with distinction, as did your predecessor, the dignified President of the Arab Republic of Egypt.
Well, some news coming through to us in relation with the Continental Free Trade Agreement. South African former head of mission to the World Trade Organization, Kelly Mene, has emerged first Secretary-General of the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat. The 40-year-old diplomat came out tops out of 3 shortlisted candidates presented to the heads of state of the African Union prior to the 33rd ordinary session in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Mene was the chief negotiator for South Africa when the negotiations on the Continental Free Trade Agreement began 2 years ago. He is expected to begin work in Accra next month prior to the full implementation of the agreement. As part of his assignment, he will be expected to lead the administrative process of the Secretariat, as well as lead the management of the Secretariat with regards to the smooth implementation of the most ambitious trade agreement in Africa. All right, in other news, South African investors have described Ghana as a major attraction for foreign investment. They say exploring business opportunities in the country so far has been risk-free, reducing average cost of doing business. This was made known at the Outwards Trade and Investment Mission in Accra, where the South African High Commission has been engaging various investors on business opportunities in Ghana. There's more in this report.
Here at the Outwards Trade and Investment Mission in Accra, South African businesses engaged with a section of Ghana's business community on thought leadership ways of meeting market demands. From the rail sector to food and beverage, these investors shared with Joy Business their strategies. Dane Poggin-Paul is the Profit Center Manager for infrastructure-based firm Bygone.
Development organization. So we focus in 5 sectors, mainly real estate, health, transportation, energy sector. And yeah, we've been around for, it's almost 5 decades now. We've had the privilege of being in and operating in Ghana for the last probably 8 years already. We are now on the brink of converting 2 further opportunities. So we've had the privilege to come and explore and experience the culture and the business ethics that Ghana has to offer.
With Ghana's rail sector repackaged, founder and managing director for Valotech, a company focusing on rail infrastructure, Dorothy Fatima Mofome, explained the impact her outfit's plans will have on Ghana's rail sector.
We're bringing expertise within especially the rail space and within the telecom space to come and share our experiences from South Africa and into Ghana, and also not just only share but to collaborate with the local Ghanaian companies to make sure that we have one free African continent.
56% of Ghana's total intra-Africa trade is with South Africa, while 68% of intra-African exports are destined for the South African market. Meanwhile, both Ghana and South Africa have expressed interest in improving upon these numbers.
National identification card numbers would become a main source of tax identification. This is expected to happen after the Ghana Revenue Authority completes merging existing national ID numbers and the tax identification numbers by the end of this year. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia disclosed this at a ceremony to rebrand Barclays as Absa Bank Ghana. George Afi was there for Joy Business and has the rest of the story.
After months of talk, commercials, interviews, the press releases and the commercials, Absa is now here with us at an event today graced by Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, the Group Chief Executive of Absa and the Managing Director of Absa Ghana. They all highlighted what we should expect, now that Barclays Ghana has been rebranded at Absa. The Vice President in his speech talked about the fact that very soon the national ID that you hold will be used as a tax identification number.
We have embarked on leveraging technology to overcome many of our developmental problems and to formalize this informal economy. The national ID card that we are issuing first establishes identity of citizens. The addressing system that we have rolled out, the digital addressing system, establishes the identity of properties. The two give us valuable information to run a modern economy. And it is not just for efficient public administration. Imagine the benefits to the private sector of this rich information database available to banks, credit rating agencies, revenue authorities, and in tagging those who need the most help. Currently, less than 2 million people are registered to pay taxes. But by the end of this year, we will start converting all the national ID numbers into tax identification numbers, which means we will increase the number of people registered for taxes de facto from about 2 million to close to 16 million in 1 year.
He also highlighted the contributions of Barclays, now Absa, to the economy, and asked them that they shouldn't stop but continue to do the same thing now that they've changed from Barclays to Absa.
As a bank, you have played significant roles in our annual cocoa syndication arrangements, the various Eurobonds, and many other financing deals to generate funds for key government projects to serve the people of our beloved country. Indeed, you were at the forefront of the 2017 bold, historic $2.25 billion bond, which we raised to help support key development projects for Ghana. The deal, the largest in sub-Saharan Africa, was instrumental in government's liability management strategy.
The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, was also full of praise for Absa in terms of being the industry first with a lot of things that have taken place in the banking industry. One can talk about meeting the minimum capital requirement and even the new vertical debit cards and credit cards that are yet to be introduced in the country.
Barclays has also influenced the industry with many innovations, including the first bank to be nationally networked and thereby giving real-time banking in all the branches across Ghana in 1998, the first to introduce cash accepting, that is deposits in ATMs in Ghana in 2013, and then today, February 10, 2020, another landmark, as Absa becomes the first bank to introduce vertical debit and credit cards to enhance the functionality of scheme cards in Ghana.
The group chief executive of Absa also talked about how Ghana can be described as a favorable investment destination. He said this is testament to actually the recent Eurobond that was subscribed by investors across the world.
Name change is the final phase of a journey that began in 2016, through which we became a standalone African bank. We now operate under one name in all our markets and are clear about our commitment to Africa's growth and development. So with one brand, one purpose, one vision, endless opportunities and possibilities. Backed by our asset base of around $90 billion, Absa seeks to contribute to Ghana and Africa's economic transformation. Our commitment includes investing in initiatives that support financial inclusion for African citizens, financing African exporters through trade finance, contributing to infrastructure financing initiatives, and general advisory services that we provide to both the private and the public sector.
For the managing director of Absa Ghana, Abna Seopoku, she says that they will continue to support small and medium-sized enterprise as they devote a significant part of their loan book to those small businesses out there.
Also organize on a monthly basis across Ghana, not just in Accra, SME seminars, making sure that we draw very close to the business community and we assist them not just in financial matters. We've had discussions around how they prepare their bench strength, how they groom their children and successors. We support them on how to better manage their books. So we're looking at it more broadly, because as a bank, to your point, yes, we have been supporting SMEs, but we're just taking it to the next level.
So you've heard them, from the group chief executive to the managing director and the directors of communications and brand change, about us promising customers, the general public, and even you and I, about improved service offerings. But would they indeed live up to this? We are watching the market space to see what Absa would bring to the banking space. My name is George Yaffe, reporting for Joy Business.
And congratulations in order for Absa Ghana. You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. When we come back, more news at the other side of this break. Stay with us. Hello, welcome back to Business Live. My name is Darryl Kwao. Let's turn to other news stories we're following for you tonight. Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, will begin piloting a new clearance management system known as UNIPASS at the Takoradi port. This follows a successful implementation at Aplao about 2 weeks ago. The new system is expected to introduce efficiency, improve turnaround time, among other benefits. Currently, different service providers operate a multifaceted system which aids customs in revenue collection. This is, however, expected to change with the introduction of UNIPASS, which is a harmonized system. Deputy Commissioner, Policy and Programs, Felix Matikojo, disclosed this at a media sensitization workshop in Tema. There's more in the following report.
The electronic customs clearance system, which computerizes procedures and automates clearance processes. The system is also to help manage increased volumes in trade and travelers given the limited resources available. UNIPASS is composed of 77 modules and 5 subordinate systems currently operating in Africa, South America and Asia. The system, developed by Korea Customs for Ghana, is set to conform to international standards, including the Kyoto Convention. Deputy Commissioner, Policy and Programs at Customs, Felix Matikojo, says the new system will bring the needed change.
The turnaround time for business will be reduced. It is very efficient. the cost of business will go down. Tentatively, we plan to go to Takoradi for the pilot. We did a test run at Aflao some 2 weeks ago, and the results were very positive. After the pilot at Takoradi, then we'll hold a meeting, a very brief one. Then we decide on the time for the general rollout. All the stakeholders that are involved in this UNIPASS, first and foremost, needed some form of sensitization, which we have done. Before that, people had a lot of reservations, but now after our sensitization programs with all of them, it has come to light that all their concerns have been addressed.
Meanwhile, Assistant Commissioner in charge of Accra Collection, Emmanuel Onhine, says UNIPASS will reduce lapses in their operations.
The existing system we have today is multifaceted. You have several service providers that are functioning on behalf of the government to aid customs in revenue collection. Now, the UNIPASS is been designed to provide an end-to-end system that will be responsible for, the customs clearance processes. And so that is basically, the main difference, to ensure that we can have a seamless flow instead of having the different interjections from hopping from one agency to the other in order to clear goods at our ports and borders.
Customs has rejected claims that it has sidelined stakeholders ahead of introduction of UNIPASS.
Tonight, some reports indicating Tullow Oil plans to cut its Ghana staff by 25%. Sources say the situation is due to weak output in Ghana's offshore fields. Similarly, there is yet another report which indicates that major oil company ExxonMobil's value has dwindled by $184 billion. Currently, the world's largest oil company, ExxonMobil, is partnering local oil marketing firm Guel to explore Ghana's deep water potential. Now, what could be the possible reasons affecting the fortunes of the international oil companies? Well, research and policy analyst at the IAS, Raymond Nopo, has been assessing the situation.
There are a lot of issues. We can talk about the supply gluts on the international market. We can talk about climate issues. We can also talk about prices of Brent crude falling. Now, if you talk about climate issues, at this moment, climate issues is having a better PR than fossil fuel or hydrocarbons. Now, when I say better PR, I'm basically trying to say that a lot of investment companies, a lot of asset managers are not willing to give out their money in funding of extra exploratory activities because of the issue of climate change and renewable energy. A lot of these asset managers and investment banks are willing to diversify their funds into renewable energy and other areas rather than fossil fuel. So some of these major companies are finding it difficult to get the financial muscles to go and do extra exploration. As at 2019, there was equal demand to supply on the international market.
And that's our program tonight. As always, more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Carl. Thanks for watching. And remember that we here at the Multimedia Group are celebrating 25 years of media excellence. We want to thank you for being a part of it. Join us same time tomorrow for Business Live, brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.